some of these visionaries and to listen to what they have to say about our world in these precarious times. Today, the first of these special guests, Nobel Laureate Dr. Jonathan David Gross, is here with us. Dr. Gross, you do us a great honor by accepting our invitation, and your lecture today, which is part of Bridges, Dialogues Toward a Culture of Peace that is facilitated by the International Peace Foundation, marks the beginning of our centennial lecture series. Your willingness to travel far from the comfort of your own laboratory, not to mention your own home, is proof of a generosity of spirit which is perhaps an even greater gift than a great mind. On behalf of my university, I thank you most warmly for this, and I take deep pleasure in welcoming you to the University of the Philippines.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jaime Augusto Zobel de Ayala, Chairman and CEO, Ayala Corporation, and Philippine Chairman of Bridges, Dialogues Towards a Culture of Peace.
Professor Emerlinda R. Roman, President of the University of the Philippines, the UP Board of Regents, Chancellor Sergio Cao, Deans, Directors, and faculty of the university, members of the Diplomatic Corps, students, ladies and gentlemen, guests. Good morning and welcome to this ASEAN-wide series of events entitled Bridges, Dialogues Towards a Culture of Peace. We're pleased to be holding this Bridges event here today at the University of the Philippines as it marks the beginning of its centenary as an institute of higher learning. Established in 1908 as a national university with a modest campus here in Manila, UP today is a system of 7 universities on 12 campuses across the country, offering over 500 undergraduate and graduate degrees with an enrollment of over 50,000 students at any time. As the premier state university over these 100 years, the university has produced presidents, cabinet ministers, leading thinkers, and successful business executives and professionals. It has excelled in both the sciences and the arts, producing more than 25 national scientists and 30 out of the 50 national artists. I'd like to both thank and congratulate UP and its president, Dr. Roman, and the faculty and students for hosting Bridges today on your 100th year as an educational institution. Bridges is facilitated by the International Peace Foundation, a non-political and non-religious foundation under the common patronage of 21 Nobel Peace Prize laureates based in Vienna. The events are hosted in cooperation with various local partners, including the country's major universities. Having started in November 2007, Bridges is being continuously held in the Philippines and in Thailand until April 2008, involving the participation of Nobel laureates for peace, physics, chemistry, medicine, and economics. The first ASEAN series of Bridges is an independent contribution to the decade of a culture of peace and nonviolence, initiated and promoted by the United Nations General Assembly. It follows the Bridges series, which the International Peace Foundation has already hosted in Thailand between November 2003 and April 2005. The topics of the ongoing events deal with the overall theme of building a culture of peace and development in a globalized world. It covers a wide range of issues in the fields of politics, economy, science, culture, and the media. They especially highlight the challenges of both globalization and regionalism and its impact on development and international cooperation. Over the next 6 months of this program, different Nobel laureates will visit the region separately to conduct public lectures, seminars, workshops, and dialogues, hosted all by local institutions. This intercultural and transdisciplinary approach towards peace provides an opportunity for dialogue where representatives of science, politics, economy, culture, religion, the media, and youth, like all of you here today, can meet, share viewpoints, listen to each other, and find mutual ways of understanding and cooperation. The pluralistic approach ensures that different groups in our divided world can act in a highly interdependent manner to understand and help solve our societal challenges. In conducting the Bridges meetings, we hope to create an independent platform for dialogue where representatives of science, politics, economy, culture, religion, the media, and youth can meet, share their viewpoints, listen to each other, and find mutual ways of understanding and cooperation. The ultimate aim of Bridges is to facilitate and strengthen dialogue and communication between societies in Southeast Asia, with their multiple cultures and faiths, as well as with peoples in other parts of the world to promote understanding and trust. The events aim at building bridges through these Nobel laureates with these local universities and other institutions in Southeast Asia to establish these longer-term relationships, which we hope may result in common research programs and other forms of collaboration. By enhancing science, technology, and education as a basis for peace and development, the events may lead to a better cooperation for the advancement of peace, freedom, and security in the region, with the active involvement of the young generation, ASEAN's key to the future. I wish here also to acknowledge the vision and untiring efforts of Mr. Uwe Morowitz, Chairman of the International Peace Foundation, for conceptualizing and bringing to reality the Bridges program. It is mainly through his efforts that the Nobel laureates have come together and agreed to engage in lectures and conversations in ASEAN, which already illustrates the power of international cooperation within ASEAN and the rest of the world to bring together a program of this quality for all of us. I'd like to also say thank you to everyone present here today for taking part in this program. May it help us to facilitate a culture of peace and development through dialogue. In this spirit, we welcome today the 2004 Nobel laureate for Physics, Professor David Gross, who has agreed to come to the Philippines without any honorarium to support the events. We all look forward to his keynote speech on the coming revolution in fundamental physics and to his important contribution to build bridges and support it. Thank you to all of you, and congratulations again on your centenary.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our honoree and the latest addition to our long list of illustrious alumni, 2004 Nobel Laureate for Physics, Dr. David Jonathan Gross, with his lecture entitled The Coming Revolutions in Fundamental Physics.
Thank you, President Ramon, Mr. Zobel de Ayala, and happy birthday to all of you. I am really very proud and honored to be the first in the lecture series number 4 of your centennial celebration at this marvelous university, and I'm proud to have received an honorary degree and now to be an alumnus of this marvelous university. So I was going to give a talk called The Coming Revolutions in Fundamental Physics, but then having delivered a similar talk in Bangkok, which took an hour and a half, I was persuaded to modify my talk. So goodbye to the coming revolutions. Instead, I will talk about the lessons of science, a broader talk about what science has brought us and what it will, and some of the deeper lessons we have learned from the successes of science over the last few centuries. Science is a rather new human endeavor. Human culture is hundreds of thousands of years old. It's only in the last few centuries that we've unleashed the power of science. I will talk about some of the lessons we have learned in these centuries, starting with the scientific method itself, a different way of looking at the world, which has not only proven extraordinarily valuable for unlocking the secrets of nature, but I think teaches us a lot about how to conduct human affairs. Of course, the main product of science is knowledge, and I'll discuss very briefly some of the incredible advances we have accumulated over what is maybe the lifespan of 5 or 6 people put length to length. This, of course, has increased enormously our control over nature, with consequences both good and bad, and I'll discuss some of those, as well as how we are going to solve some of the problems that face us. And there I believe that what will be necessary will be a kind of internationalism of a sort we have not yet seen, and that itself is modeled by scientific society and can follow its example. And finally, since science is based on asking questions of nature and making predictions about nature, I'll end with some perhaps provocative questions and predictions. So let's start with the scientific method, which is a rather new way of thinking. It's only a few hundred years old. And it is based on the surprising idea that the best way to achieve understanding is to observe and experiment and to subject all of our ideas to observation and experiment, which are ultimately the judges as to whether our idea is correct. In fact, the only authority for truth, in science at least, is agreement with nature through observation and experiment, not political power or religious power. Parliaments cannot repeal the law of gravity. The Bush administration cannot deny global warming. This is an extremely important lesson and has profound implications for human culture and politics. And finally, all of our scientific theories we have learned are provisional. There are no absolute truths. We must continue to subject our ideas to continual quantitative test and improvement, and to expect that we are probably wrong, maybe only slightly wrong,